We're already back with Gachiakuta, episode 20. Starting this episode, we are thrown back into this chaos. It's going crazy outside, and this giant trash beast is just raring to get going. But the main majority here, it's just a recap. Santa's showcasing their powers, and we get to find out that Dear Santa was able to actually break through the wall. So, right after Dear Santa's feat, this is where Boondus congratulates him. Next thing he says is he makes a comment about how he was able to use a pacifier to actually drain it, and it just interests him, and he starts powering up. You see all the enema coming out. We then get to see his vital instrument, hands. We then cut to the opening. Once we come back, we get to see the reveal of Boondus' hands once again. He then does something pretty cool. He jumps up in the air, starts spinning around, and now he is untied by Bro Santa. And Boondus makes it very clear he's not going to let him go and clear this trash beast. Instead, he's going to stop them, take the victory, and get a prize. However, after a moment of saying that, the place suddenly starts to earthquake again, and there's like a second wait. Suddenly, they get flipped over, and the three of them start falling. This includes the Santas, this includes Boondus. They don't understand what's going on. At the same time that they're falling, we get to see outside where this giant trash beast is ready to take flight. In fact, as they're falling, this is where Boondus reveals it's actually ready for flight, but this man, we find out, is a bit insane. He wants to finish it while they're falling as well. It's really hard to capture everything because it is actually a really nice moment right now. What we see next isn't Boondus actually attacking. Instead, it is Bro Santa who looks up to see Dear Santa falling, and he's worried about him. This is when we see him use his cloth. He grabs him, and then he pulls him towards him, of course, now holding him, telling him everything's going to be okay and they're going to make it home safe. Now, we do get to hear a comment about just like we did that day. While they're having that touching family moment, Boondus is quickly tracking towards them. He's actually moving on trash that is falling and creating a pathway towards them. Finally, Boondus has made his way towards them, and it's at this moment where it's like Dear Santa is just so scared for his little life. Suddenly, after a moment, we get to see a car come out of nowhere, and it looks like they almost get hit. We then get to see somehow the three of them are able to land inside this car perfectly, and they're even surprised. This takes a funny turn where Bro Santa has to drive. It begins in the air, and he gets hit by a piece of trash. Yeah, Boondus in the back seat, trying to backseat drive. They're now on the ground, and they're trying to dodge all this trash. Bro's a bad driver, and Boondus has to take the wheel. I gotta say it. It's a must-watch moment. Everything's going crazy. Everything is going insane. We get to even see Boondus use his battle instrument outside the window of this vehicle to fight against the trash. Then he's telling Bro to look for a way to switch off this, and he sees this pipe. He then has his big moment Bro Santa does, grabs onto an object on the ground, and he switches into it. This is where we see Engine inside this tunnel as well, as the car parks right beside of him. That's not all. We can't forget about Fu, who has also chased Engine around to try and get hit first. During the small reunion, finally Engine gets to learn about them being on side of a trash beast. While he's coming to an understanding, simultaneously we get to hear back from Simu finally, and Engine has to fill her in on what's going on. Simu can't believe what's going on. She basically tells Engine to go and clean up that trash beast and to get out of there. And there's this comment made about why they weren't able to reach through to the chokers. He mentioned something about underground. And this makes a whole point where you have one of the enemies right there who is wanting information, Boondus. And Engine looks back at him as Boondus sits there and he's sort of smirking. Now, this is the big thing. Somehow we have to find the others without having any communication with the chokers. We see Injin put down his umbrella, and it seems pretty sharp when he does this. We get to know Injin was a name given to me by someone I owe a big debt to. As he continues, we get to learn what the name Engine means. In an old language, it meant someone who connects people. Engine is saying this while Simu is still on the phone, and we know something crazy is probably about to happen. He makes a comment about whenever someone has an umbrella, it stands out, and Simu's like, understood. As Sumi's like, I'll leave you to it, we get to learn she was somehow able to pinpoint their location, and they have backup on the way. This backup is the real deal. Of course, you got your gifters, but something that we gotta look at is Gris is driving, and he's grabbing this wheel, almost breaking this thing. He's full of rage coming into this. There's a shortcut. We come back to hear Zonal talking. He says the trash storm comes once every 6 years. In fact, today is the day. So there's something additional I'd like to mention here. Cthulhu actually portals out, so she's not currently in this room, it seems. And we get to hear, conveniently enough, this trash beast is able to ride the storm, due to Zodal altering its posture slightly. So as Zodal continues to talk, we get to learn that he doesn't want to sacrifice Rudo because he has too much information about the sphere, and we also get to see what Rudo is up to and where he is. So after that big earthquake, it seems he's now hanging from a rock, like literally hanging. Now, with Rudo just sitting there hanging, we have Zolal starting to play this mind game with him. He lets him know he can get him there faster to the spear than anyone else, and he makes him question, what can the cleaners do for you? At the same time, Rudo looks down, and Gita is just down for the count, not sure if Zolal did this or if it was the earthquake from earlier. So after thinking for quite a while, Rudo finally speaks up, and we get to learn where his heart is set, and it's in a really bright spot. He wants to bat for the team, and he has something that Zolo doesn't, a team that is there with him. And this is just going crazy. He has the music, and he's about to make his final statement. This is when Rudo falls down, and we get to hear the very final thing he wanted to say. I want to live with them, have fun with them, and happily get my revenge. Rudo also makes sure to call him a piece of crap, and we see Zodal had enough. He immediately jumps off and he powers up his cape. He's almost like a really weird version of Batman. My goodness. So this is where we end the episode. Zodal immediately has his hands on Rudo, basically choking him. And this is where he's telling him he's going to teach him one thing, and that is regret. And this goes into where's your team now? Because Rudo says he's jealous of his team. And suddenly we see a funnel just twist up, and it's ENSIGN. He's like, yep, I'm here. And we already know next episode's gonna go insane. Big 180 and a great closing. At least that is what I thought the ending was, but here is the actual one. Cthulhu is sitting there in front of Jabber as he is humming. He's somehow still alive, even with a bullet wound. To sum it up simply, this was a fantastic episode. What made it for me was definitely the car comedy with Bundus. Just something about that was just so funny. And I'm like sitting there thinking, whenever we finish up this season one, we're going to remember this. And, maybe even further because it was just that good. That ending, insane. In fact, Jabber is still alive. Also, shout out to Rito. He's gonna pick his team over revenge, and he wants the revenge with his friends, which does show that he's still his old self. But there is some growth there, and it's really nice we're able to see that at least. ENSIGN comes in. Does he fight Zodal? We gotta see that, and backup's on his way. A lot of things going on, and we're coming down to the ending. 25 episodes total for this first season, but if I had to rate episode 20, I'm going to say it is a 9.3. I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on Gachiakuta episode 20. Hope you guys stay safe, and until next time, peace out.